Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
The Oscars, Hollywood's annual glitzy gathering where the stars align in extravagantly expensive attire, where they suck themselves off dry and are ready to enlighten us mere mortals about the pitfalls of wealth and environmental woes. It's like watching a parade of luxury cars at a climate change rally, and the irony is almost too thick to cut through. But let's be real, the last thing I remember about the Oscars, and the moment that really shook everyone, wasn't a tearful acceptance speech or a cinematic revelation. It was Will Smith's unexpected outburst on stage. That moment transcended Hollywood scriptwriting, turning the Oscars into a live show that no one could turn away from. Unless that was also scripted, because there's no way of even knowing at this point. This incident didn't just fade into the backdrop of movie accolades and red carpet interviews. It catapulted itself into every corner of social media, sparked endless talk shows and think pieces, becoming a symbol of when keeping it real goes wrong in Tinseltown. The best thing to probably come out of that were the endless memes, and it overshadowed even the most stunning dresses, most moving performances, and the glimmering trophies at the Oscars that year. Imagine working your whole life to win an Oscar, and no one even remembers it because someone decided to slap another man for his bald wife / ex-wife / someone he forces himself to live with because a divorce is going to cost him too much. In an event meticulously planned to showcase Hollywood's finest, Smith's moment was a jolt of reality, a reminder that the most memorable scenes at the Oscars are sometimes the ones that no one saw coming. The Oscars, once the pinnacle of cinematic achievement, have devolved into a self-congratulatory circus, a veritable relic of a bygone era when Hollywood actually swayed public opinion. It's like watching the rich and famous in a zoo, except they're the ones behind bars and are blissfully unaware. Despite their declining relevance, the Oscars remain a curious gauge of the industry's pulse. The films that snag the nominations are Hollywood's not-so-subtle way of telling us what's in vogue. The speeches, a peek into the industry's soul, if it has one left, that is. But let's face it, Hollywood's been stumbling lately, with a list of endless flops and scandals. Add in the looming shadow of an election year and the possible return of the one they love to hate, and you've got an industry walking on eggshells. Take the most recent one, for instance, with John Cena in his birthday suit on stage, presenting an award. You'd think you were watching a bizarre initiation ritual at an Ivy League school, but no, this is Hollywood's elite, seemingly allergic to anything normal. And really, wouldn't the scene have been infinitely more appealing with someone like Sydney Sweeney in Cena's place? Then there's the sad spectacle of legends like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, now reduced to confused echoes of their former selves. It's like watching the decline of Rome, but with more Botox and less dignity. But it wasn't all a cringe fest, because Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito's reunion was a glimmer of old-school charm in a sea of mediocrity. And let's not forget Hollywood's newfound obsession with Madame Web, and when even the film stars can't help but mock it, you know it's open season for the rest of us. Ryan Gosling's musical number was a bright spot, seemingly admitting that Ken was the unsung hero of the Barbie movie, a rare moment of self-awareness from an industry notoriously lacking it. So, who were the big winners? Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and bewilderingly Barbie. In a sane world, the Barbie movie would have just been a small, quirky side note, but this is Hollywood, where common sense is as scarce as a modestly budgeted film. Killers had all the right ingredients, a really good cast, an esteemed director, and a runtime that tested the limits of human bladder control. Yet it was Oppenheimer that swept the awards, a safe bet that managed to be impressive without being overly preachy. The real triumph, though, was Godzilla -1. Its win for Best Visual Effects on a shoestring budget was a slap in the face to the bloated extravagances that usually dominate Hollywood. It's a lesson in storytelling and creativity triumphing over dollar signs. The biggest letdown? The lack of recognition for international films. It's like the Oscars forgot there's a whole world outside their gilded bubble. In the end, this year's Oscars felt like a timid, uncertain creature, a long way from the over-the-top spectacles we used to get. Even Jimmy Kimmel's monologues were as edgy as a butter knife. It was Hollywood in survival mode, desperately trying to avoid further alienating an audience that's grown weary of their antics. But hey, a win's a win, right? Maybe, just maybe, this signals a change in the winds for Hollywood, and not a change born of enlightenment, but out of sheer necessity. Either way, I'll be watching, popcorn in hand, ready to see if they follow through or spectacularly miss the mark yet again.